All right, so I'm going to walk you guys through exactly how I make a lesson from start to finish. So basically, I have like a template that I created, and so I just kind of make a copy every time to make the new slide. So to do that, you just do File, make a copy, entire presentation. I already did that, so I'm not going to do it again, but that's how you would do that. This problem is from the SEAT exam from 2019. I try to expose my students to those as much as possible. I know there is no SEAT exam, but it's a good resource for question banks. So when I want to go over the problem of the day, what I use is Screencastify to make a video, which I'm using right now to record. But it's the little arrow up here. I did show a video on how to use Screencastify. I'll link that in the YouTube caption for you. So basically what I do is I duplicate this slide. So I right click, duplicate slide, or you can click Command or Control D. That also works. And then I kind of just solve the problem on the slide. So what is the volume of cubic inches of the tower Lana built? So this is the tower. So actually, what I'm going to do first is I kind of walk the kids through. I think about how I would teach it in person. So I would tell the kids, okay, what I want you to do is underline the question. And I kind of just make it the colors that I would use in the classroom. So I always use blue to underline the question. So that's that. I get rid of this because we don't really need that for going over it. The total volume. So then I would like highlight this one, this top prism. So you can use the shapes and kind of like make a very similar shape. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the opacity of the shape to make it like a highlighter. So you go to your little filler over here. You can click custom plus, and then you want it to be like a yellowy highlighter. So bright yellow. And then down here is the transparency. You just want to make it a little transparent. So now you can see the highlight. I also want to get rid of the line so it looks more just like a highlight. I have this saved. It's the state exam from 2019, the release questions. And I would even go back and do this and just screenshot it. Again, I did Command Shift 4. Throw that on the bottom of the slide or the top so that the kids have it as a reference and they know that they have somewhere to look for all of this. So if the volume equals the length times width times the height, I'm like thinking out loud to myself how I'm gonna, as I'm like putting the slide together, I'm thinking about how I can explain it to the kids. So basically I just like solved the problem on here and I know that the answer is 120 inches cubed. So I would just paste that and then I want to make the answer a separate text box because I don't want the answer to be shown right away for them. I want them to have to solve the problem. Part of the problem solving strategies that we do is we always underline the question, we write the question answer as a sentence, and then we solve it and put the number into the sentence when we're done. So that is something that I've taught them in person since September. So that's something that they know. So that is what I am doing here. So now I solve the problem. So I have one blank slide where they're going to solve it, and then I have this slide that has all the work. But I don't want to just give them all the work. I like to record myself going over the answer and the question. So I have to think about how I'm going to teach this to them. So I know the first thing that they're going to do is underline. So I'm going to right click and click animate, and that's going to just add an animation of the line, and you can see like a little image of the line. And then the second thing I always tell them to do is write the sentence. So I'm going to make sure that the sentence is highlighted, click add animation, and now I can kind of see that it's the sentence. And then I'm going to show them that I'm going to label it shape A and then shape B. And then I'm going to highlight it for them so that they could see the different highlights of each shape. So then I'm going to highlight A is yellow, add animation for B, and then I'm going to click this. So this is where it gets a little tricky because I don't want to just show them the whole answer right away. I want to add animation, but I want to, if you see it says by paragraph, you click that, and that will reveal each line. And same thing for this one. You want to click add animation. You want to make sure it's by paragraph. Then this one as well, you want to click add animation and then make sure it's by paragraph. And the last thing you want to do is add animation for the answer. So now you can kind of, if you click play here, it'll show you like an example of what it's going to look like. So you see the blank screen, it has the volume formula. It's because they know that they have their reference sheet. It's going to underline the question when you click it first, and then have the answer, and then label the shapes A and B, and then highlight the colors, and then volume of shape A. Okay, line times width times height. And as I'm clicking here, you can hear the click, I hope. And it kind of goes through each volume. And again, I'm picturing in my head, I'm thinking how I'm going to explain this to the kids. But basically, this is how I would solve the problem. So then when I'm explaining to the kids, I am walking them through, okay, this is how I got the answer. And then I would even take this slide. Well, you have to stop the animation. I would take this slide and duplicate it again and put it after this so that I can show them, okay, now I'm going to drag my answer to 120 cubic inches. And then I would do that. So now, after I already do all the animation, I go to this original slide, and then I just click Screencastify, and I click record, and I go through. I want to make sure I click Command Enter to present it, because then I can go through, and then it would go through all of the animations that I had set up. And as it's recording my voice, and I'm going to explain, okay, and then this is shape A, and this is shape B, and then this is how I find the volume of each of the shapes. And it kind of walks them through. Again, geometry is very hard to teach virtually because you can't like show the kids the virtual manipulatives or any manipulatives to help them like see and picture it. So this is like the best thing we can do given the circumstances. So again, you want to make sure you go through all that, and then you stop the recording, and then you can insert the video on the blank slide. And then when I do, after I insert the video of my Screencastify, I take the two slides. Actually, I delete this one altogether. And then I just take the one that has the answer and I put it all the way at the end. And the kids know, that's the one from the last slide. The kids know that if they can watch the video and hear me talk them through it. And then if they have any questions, they can go to the end and see the answer. But my hope again is that they are actually listening to me explain it to them, because that's the bulk of the lesson. Because I usually do the problem of the day as the skill that I'm teaching them, and then I do the guided, and I give them like a practice problem here, and then over here the answer to the practice problem, where they know they have to move this to check their work. So the kids know that they answer their practice problems here on their on the piece of paper, and then they can check their own work. So it's self-correcting, and then they can put how they feel. They can drag this little, like, I put my Bitmojis there to make it a little fun, how they feel about the topic. And then they know it. I have a lesson glossary that I put at the end. So basically, any words that I come up with throughout the guideds, or even here, really, if they click the word, it'll jump them to the glossary page, so then they can view the word and the definition. So that's something that I think has been helpful to them in terms of vocabulary and math. So I hope that this video helps you, and I hope that you are able to use this feature to help you create your slides a little bit easier when you're teaching math virtually, because I know it can be difficult, believe me. This took some time to try and like finagle so that it works for what I'm doing, especially geometry. A little tricky to teach virtually, but again, we make do with what we got. We're teachers, we problem solve, and we hope that our kids are good problem solvers like us. So have a good day.